welcome to Business News. The federal government will continue to pay the price of not doing the right thing in the upstream, midstream and downstream sector of the country. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of OilServe, Mr. Emeka Okusa, raised these concerns and warned that investments will not come into the country if the Petroleum Industry Bill is not passed as soon as possible.
If I look at upstream, I'm hoping that there will be a possibility for the government to invest more in E&P. How will government invest in E&P? It is by meeting up their JV cash calls. It is by trying as much as possible to rejig and let us have the PIB passed in order to create the right framework for investment. Investment is at a low ebb at the moment, and you cannot expect anything much more except there's clarity, which we don't have now. Then you get into midstream. There is a need to invest in infrastructural development. Without gas pipelines being built extensively in Nigeria, Nigeria cannot develop. Nigeria cannot have the energy they require to drive the economy. Downstream, for me, it's a no-brainer so far as we keep playing politics with liberalization of downstream. The issue of removal of subsidy. If we keep playing games with that, we're only hurting ourselves. Last year we were told that that was done. Of course, those of us in industry knew that wasn't true. Today we're getting into the same regime where we have to now be paying money as subsidy. Subsidy should not be there anymore. You cannot be subsidizing petrol when the people that use petrol are people who can afford to buy cars and drive.
One of the top global ratings agencies, Standard & Poor's, has given the federal government's Eurobond proposed issue a B rating. This is coming a day after the government confirmed plans to issue the country's first Eurobond in more than 3 years this month. Nigeria's delegation will meet investors and officials in London and the United States on Friday for roadshows for a 15-year dollar bond deal. The proceeds will be used to fill the government's funding gap. The Central Bank of Nigeria plans to suspend banks from its lending window for up to 8 weeks if they fail to abide by its new rules. According to a statement from the regulator, the new rules will, amongst other things, check the liquidity challenges faced by the banks and see how financial institutions can borrow cash from other banks or the CBN to cover their shortfalls. Financial experts expect this move will help the CBN identify banks with possible challenges and prevent unethical practices in the sector. The FMDQ OTC Securities Exchange posted a 17% loss in its 2016 turnover to 113.66 trillion naira. The securities market attributes the loss to the fall in oil prices, limited access to foreign exchange, high inflation, amongst other issues. Despite this number, the OTC exchange experienced positive growth in the foreign exchange derivatives product line due to the introduction of the OTC FX futures product into the market. Nigeria's equities market swung back into positive territory at the close of today's session. That's after 3 consecutive days of losses. Let's join Bisi Adebayo for the details.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Reports. The general index of the Nigerian Stock Exchange is up 0.13% today, reversing the bearish trend recorded in the last 3 sessions following the positive performance from some bellwether stocks. Thursday's transactions also saw a higher volume in overall turnover as investors traded 354.5 million shares in 2,760 deals for over 1.71 billion naira. Out of 20 gainers on the price table, which boosted the market capitalization, Unity Bank, Owando and Continental Insurance had the most significant increases. On the other hand, Forte Oil, UAC Property Development Company and Transco led 14 other losers. Continental Insurance comes ahead of Staco and Zenith Bank as the top 3 most traded stocks for the day. And that's it on Stock Market Reports. I am BC Adebayo.
It's different strokes for most of the world's leading stock markets. They remain under pressure on Thursday as investors continue to react to growing tensions between the United States and other global powers. That's Business News tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Melinda Akinlami.
It appears there is no going back on the federal government's plan to establish a national carrier. As the Minister of State for Aviation, Hadi Sirika, says his ministry will work to ensure this happens this year. The minister made this known when he appeared before the House of Representatives Committee on Aviation to defend the ministry's 2017 budget. The committee also scrutinized the 2016 budget of the ministry. Our correspondent Larry Lasisi has more.
Officials of different ministries, departments and agencies in the National Assembly to defend their budget proposals for the year 2017. The Minister of State for Aviation leads officials of the ministry as they appear before the House of Representatives Committee on Aviation. The House Committee sets the tone of the meeting, even as it begins by looking at how well the ministry implemented its 2016 budget.
Whatever estimates being projected by the ministry and its agencies must be in tandem with realities on ground. They must be structured to favor the public and make the nation's aviation sector stand out in the Committee of Nations.
The total capital appropriation for 2016 was 18,045,104,252 even, out of which 10,517,495,683 and 31 kobo was released to the ministry, making 58% or 58.3%.
The minister then outlines some of the projects the ministry will focus on in 2017.
The ministry also wishes to ensure that the private sector-led national carrier will be established this year.
While scrutinizing the 2017 budget proposal of the ministry, members of the committee expressed concern about the effect of the exchange rate on some of the proposed projects.
We are trying to ensure that in 2017 and going forward, including I think even 2018, all of those projects that are ongoing, that have been hampered by the rate of exchange, will be completed, and of course taking the 305 exchange as approved by National Assembly and by MTEB and the CBN.
The committee, however, had some queries for the ministry and has given the officials 2 days to submit the outstanding documents. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
Next on the news at 10, the Nigeria Professional Football League champions Rangers International handed 2.7 million naira fine for unruly conduct of their fans. We'll have more in sports news. Do join us again.